Hello and good afternoon, good evening, and in some locations in the world, good morning. Welcome to Primetime Gaming. Of course, I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. We have an outstanding two-topic show, 90 plus minutes of big conversation, one of which is going to be the Starfield DLC hate has been dialed up to 11, and well, we have a very incredible story that's going to come the way of Hargeet Chani that is a bit shocking to me. I'm 7 hours in. I am loving it. We also have joining us for the first time in a minute. He's been here in a minute. 3-Bit, what's up, brother? It's so nice to see you. Great to have you here. You put out a tweet that kind of, I think it should go viral because it really is very telling of what is happening with, Starfield specifically, especially in the grifting community. Look, the truth of the matter is that if you don't like the DLC, I'm not going to fight you on it. Like what you like, hate what you don't like. You know what I'm saying? I get it. But there is something to be said about insane and people who grifted to simply make money on Starfield by hating on it are back again doing the same thing. And they're playing through I don't like, if there's a game that I don't like, I don't play it. I don't watch podcasts. I don't hate play games, but we understand that YouTube is a business. We will get into that momentarily. But first of all, let's welcome in Hargeet Chani. Hargeet, you have a very interesting story, and it's not funny. It's actually very disappointing, to be honest with you. You'll get into it in a second. But how you feeling, man?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Kind of busy with work, but otherwise good.
Well,
not a lot of news this week, though. It's been kind of a little even keel now, right?
It's been a little slower. Yeah, we've been getting some little things. Obviously, tomorrow we're going to talk specifically about the visit that Phil Spencer had at Koei Tecmo, which I think there is something there. Interestingly enough, he was playing Ninja Gaiden after his visit, which, again, put on your tinfoil hats or not. I think Ninja Gaiden is a classic. It was originally an exclusive to the OG Xbox and deserves a remake. And I'm not talking about a remaster. I'm talking about, let's take the time and deliver a Resident Evil 2 remake from the ground up of Ninja Gaiden, because obviously after 2 it was very suspect. 3 was okay, and after that it was just all downhill. And listen, we just need a return of that. But we are awaiting Mav. Mav should be joining us momentarily, but we do have 3-Bit. Hey, 3-Bit, what's going on, my brother? Obviously, this is the host of Pixelated Echoes on Sunday evenings. Him and Fuzzy break it down. Fantastic podcast and a fantastic podcaster. How you doing, brother? Welcome.
Doing good, man. Been busy working this week, but I did have some time to game, fortunately. Last week, not so much, but I was able to play some RoboCop. So I've been playing
phenomenal game, dude. The game has no right to be as good as it is.
Yeah, I had no idea it was that good. I know the developer. They don't have a good history of making the greatest games, right? They made like Rambo and some other stuff, and then
Terminator was pretty good today. I
didn't try that.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I didn't try Terminator, so maybe I'll check that out. But I've been having a good time with it. Honestly, I'm a big RoboCop fan. I saw Mav play. I was like, all right, I'll give this a shot. And I didn't know it'd be open world in a way. Like you can kind of like investigate and be a cop. You could give people tickets. Like I didn't know the game had that. I thought it was just more, more linear and kind of arcadey. So yeah, honestly, I just been playing that. People don't know I do commercials and stuff. I've been doing a couple commercials relating to Hurricane Helene. So that was unfortunate, and I was actually I was there when it happened. I left at the perfect time.
Wow. Yeah, I saw that tweet that you had said that you literally just missed all of that flooding. That is scary, dude.
Yeah, that was really scary. I didn't know it was that bad until I got back home, and I was like, oh wow, the area that I was in was literally just gone.
Well, just imagine if you're in the street, you're from a street level, you look at a Burger King, and from floor to top, it's 15 feet, 17 feet, give or take. There were parts where you only saw the roof, and even that had water. That's a lot of water in the street.
Absolutely crazy. So shout out to the people over there. I had a post where you can donate and things like that. Um, I have some family over there too. They're doing okay. But besides that, man, busy week. Good week for gaming for me. Like it's not like a lower week, like Harky was saying, like for gaming news, but I'm kind of glad because there's so many games I have to catch up on. I play a little
Oh,
bit
dude, I
Shadow
have so many
Space.
games that I
Yeah,
have my hands in all the different pies, and I hate it because I like enjoying a game through, like for instance, Space Marine 2 is such a great game, and I put like 6 or 7 hours in, went to something else. It's the cardinal sin of gaming. I just want to hate myself for it, but it is what it is.
yeah, that's on.
That's not the biggest world problems, but we're glad to have you here. Thank you so much. We're going to get your hot take in a second. Hey, Mav, welcome, brother. Glad that you joined us this evening.
Yeah, how's it going, man? Super happy to be here. My mic okay? Because I was
Yeah, you sound perfect. Yeah,
right on. So I was struggling trying to get the access to work on the browser for some reason, but it's here. So hope everybody's having an awesome day. Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about, Boom. I like the topics for today, some juicy ones.
they are.
So,
They're juicy. They're fun. They're
yeah.
opinionated. And speaking of opinions, Mav, first of all, I love yours. And folks, if you didn't know, and I don't normally ask for myself. I don't like asking for myself. I'm a giver. I don't like to take even when I need, because I'd rather see someone else happy. Rather see someone else smile. Mav and the Fun Speculation Network, ladies and gentlemen, is a stone throw away from 5,000 subscribers. If you did not know that, well, I'm here to tell you that I'm going to ask you, as a content creator, that no one works as hard as Mav. And I will say this: his podcasts, obviously, 3-Bit's a part of that. He has Pong Soul, he has Jasper. Occasionally, Caitlin jumps in on it. Again, that's his partner. She does some of the best thumbnails in the business. There's no doubt about it. You have Psychonauts that's a part of it. Game Pass Dad pops in usually on Fridays. So it's a very family kind of environment that you get yourself into. There's never infighting, and it's always fun. And there's no one that works harder, in my opinion, than Mav. So I'm gonna drop the link for his YouTube channel in the chat once we get going. And I want to ask that you go over there and you subscribe, because there'd be nothing would warm this old man's heart more than to have him hit 5K live on the air. Because look, it's not even just the podcasts that are awesome. How he does the Mavcasts, I don't know. It's talent and it's stamina that this old man doesn't have, because he can talk for 2 hours and not miss a beat. I'm telling you, it's great content. Mav, we're gonna get you to 5K if I gotta throw you on my back and carry you across the goddamn finish line. But thanks so much for being here, bro.
No, man, I appreciate the kind words, Boom. Yeah, always a class act, and you're wrong about that. As far as people that work hard at this, I think it's you that works harder than anybody else out there. And I'll throw Fuzzy Belvedere's hat in the ring. He doesn't do much for his own channel, but I think that dude's on more podcasts than anybody in the world. And
Pong was for a second. Pong
was like, he was. Pong Soul was doing it, but obviously real workout in the way.
Yeah. But there's a lot of awesome creators out there, man, and a lot of people deserving of views and subs and all that kind of stuff. And I just appreciate anybody that stops by and has fun with the content. But like hearing stuff like that from you, who I respect greatly in this community, has been one of the kind of pillars. Ever since I started this, I always looked up to you and everything that you do here. So any kind words from you means a lot. So I appreciate it, man.
Trust me, it's not blowing smoke. It's being honest. And like I said, I love the work that you do, and I love the family, feeling that you get when you show up to their chats. You show up to Mav's podcast. It's always a family kind of a feeling, like a family reunion gathering. Even the chat is a part of that. But look, I have glowing things to say about Starfield's Shattered Space. I'm sure Mav does, as well as 3-Bit. But that's not where we're going to open up this can of worms, because Hargi Chani, who plays everything, has some choice words for Bethesda, especially because, well, he's going to tell you why right now. Hargi Chani, break it down for the fine folks. Now, you have a totally different, or you've had a totally different experience with Starfield's Shattered Space. Break it down as to what that is, kind sir.
So yeah, apparently with some of the updates, I don't know what the hell's happened, but people are running into a thing where it will not recognize any DLC, even the premium content that you bought when you got it. So it just doesn't recognize any of it. And you can try to fix it, but it won't even like let me read the data from those folders where I'm supposed to copy it from. So I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to get into like troubleshooting this thing. They just need to make it work. And it's because it's stupid Xbox's lockdown, game store stupidity. Whereas if it was, Steam, it would just freaking work. And since I got it on, Xbox store, I'm kind of just screwed to deal with their stupidity. So for me, Shattered Space won't even recognize. Therefore, 0. You get a big fat 0 from me. Big fat 0. That is just unacceptable. This is not 1995 for Pete's sake. You can figure out how to make things work. It's just ridiculous. That should not be a thing. So, they get a big fat 0 from me,
and rightfully so. I mean, listen, here we are in a world where cross buy should be almost a thing. Like, I don't know why it's not, especially when it comes to Xbox. And the fact that you have a premium piece of DLC that you can't even start, that's disgraceful. Now, actually, I have not seen a whole lot of people posting that. So when you told me in the green room, I was a little taken aback. I'm like, well, because I've been playing on the Series X, I've had 0 issues. Nothing with saves, nothing with clipping, no pop in. I have had an excellent time with Shattered Space, but that, of course, is not everybody. But it's honestly a real shame. I hope a fix does happen because it is really good, and I think you're going to dig it. It's just unfortunate that at this time, we're in 2024. This was a DLC that everyone knew was coming. Bethesda gave us the release date well in advance. How doesn't it work for Hargeet, and how doesn't it work for anyone else? I mean, if you're a PC guy or gal in the chat, please, by all means, throw it up to let us know that you're having you're having problems with it, because this has definitely got to be brought to the doorstep. And this is valid smoke for both Xbox and Bethesda. I'm sorry, it's unacceptable.
By the way, I think Fonz has the same exact issue. He hasn't been able to start it, and he's like,
yeah, well, that sucks. I would imagine what the conversation would be like tonight when you hang out with Fonz at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fonz's show. But look, at the end of the day, not everyone is having that bad experience. I'm 7 hours in. I know that there is a lot of conversation. There's a lot of grifting with this game. There has been since inception. I know I've been accused of, trying to, pad the game. Listen, if you don't like Starfield, I'm not going to fight you. I just think that if you did not like Starfield and you gave it a real crummy score because you didn't like it for whatever reason, and I don't care what that reason is, if you're grifting, if you are a troll, or you straight up like, you know what, I don't like this game, good for you. I find it odd that we see the same group of people, and it is a group of people that did not even finish the freaking game, are now playing the DLC to review it and to review bomb it. And you know what? Before we bring Mav in, I do want to bring 3-Bit in, because 3-Bit, you put out an amazing tweet regarding this. And look, I'll say this, and I want this to be completely clear, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not letting any trade secrets like magicians out, like take a peek behind the curtain. But here's the thing. After a certain amount of subscribers and a certain amount of insertion into the gaming space, your channel ultimately becomes a business. And when you start getting 50,000 subscribers or above, you now start to potentially depend on that money to pay your mortgage, to pay your car payment. There are people that literally live and die by the content that they put out on YouTube. This is not a trade secret. This is reality. The problem that has gone on for the last couple of years in this community, and again, we here at Double Barrel Gaming do not do the name thing, because it's unnecessary to do that. One, I don't I'm 54 years old, so I don't need ridiculous smoke. Plus, I don't have to. That's not how I do content. If other people do content like that by naming the names, that is perfectly fine. Let them do their content that way. But I will say that there is a certain subset of content creators in the 50,000 plus subscriber count and more that consistently shit on Xbox for clicks to pay their mortgage. And that is an effing fact. I'm sorry. They are grifters. They go out of their way to make stupid faces on their thumbnails with stupid hats on that people click on because they're just hating on Xbox. That has become a thing. It has become rampant, and I believe we're starting to see that here with this. Now, granted, if you don't like the DLC, you feel it's too short, fine, whatever. But I'm sorry to say this is not a 5-hour DLC. If you're going to run through the DLC just so you beat it in 5 hours, then you're just not playing the game to play the game and enjoy it. You're literally playing the game to say you beat it so you can give it a shitty score and get some money. That's my opinion on it. But I've ranted enough. 3-bit, let's get your hot take on what's going on with this DLC.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of comes from a place of like where I kind of stand with a lot of reviews in general. We just kind of reached this timeline where objectivity is kind of punished, which is why I can't vibe with a lot of mainstream kind of reviews out there. I've seen reviews punish Starfield for not being like this game, or it feels too much like a Bethesda game, or it's like, oh, it doesn't feel like No Man's Sky, punishing a Bethesda game for essentially being a Bethesda game. Yeah, and it's fine if you don't like a game. I feel like people can get that mixed up. Like there's plenty of people out there, I'm sure, like, oh, I prefer how Skyrim did it, or maybe I like Morrowind or some of their older games. That's completely fine. But to basically have some of these people having articles where it's just like, oh, it's been a month later and I already forgotten about Starfield while you're writing about Starfield, it just comes off as grifting, because that a lot of people are looking at the game. You have the same content creators who have like 12, 15 videos on how bad the game is, and it just comes off as like, because I've seen comments basically saying like, oh, but these people are reviewers, this is what they're supposed to do, and things like that. It just comes off as kind of disingenuous, in my opinion. And me and Matt was actually talking about this the other night, where we were talking about like objectivity in gaming media, where for example, a game like Hogwarts was basically just shunned from the Game Awards because of how people felt about the author. So it no longer becomes anything about the game anymore. The game's quality, how you actually like the game's graphics, the sound design, all that gets thrown out the window in multiple occasions for several games. We've seen like a game like Modern Warfare be rated on the same level as Gollum. Obviously, production wise, Modern Warfare 3 is nowhere comparable to a game like Gollum. So
right.
my problem gets to be with the gaming media side, where it's more about how the game makes you feel, less than what's actually in the game and what's actually the production quality of the game. So I feel like back in the day, with your GameSpots, your older game articles, there was a time I felt where a lot of gaming media did at least focus on how good is the sound quality, how good is the graphics, how good is the fun factor, like these different pieces that kind of formulate a review. But now it's like either a game is a 7 out of 10 or it's like a 4, and it's this sort of in between is kind of lost. So the grifting culture is kind of what I was really commenting on. Like you can not like the game if you have a problem like Hargeet, like that's a friggin' valid response, right? Like he can't play the game. Zero. Right. that totally makes sense. Like that is your experience. Like he tried to boot the game, doesn't work. therefore I'm going to punish that game. But you have people out there who, like, let's say they don't like a racing game, they review a racing game, and then be like, I didn't, I don't like this racing game. I'm gonna give it like
I don't like that you had to turn left so many times.
Yeah, just
0.
like dumb things like that I keep seeing. People who don't like RPGs review RPGs, and that's kind of the thing I usually tackle whenever I talk about things on Twitter or in different podcasts. It's never about you not liking the game. It's more so like the kind of like being disingenuous about your overall experience towards the game. Like if you're gonna punish a game like Modern Warfare 3, like I'm referencing this because I just thought it was really interesting where that game, the things around Modern Warfare 3, like you could not like the game, but if you're going to say that AAA game, the hundreds of people worked on it, that it's somehow a lesser experience to something like an indie game like a Gollum experience is just very interesting to me. But yeah, I mean it goes into a lot of different forms of conversation or how I feel about it. Overall, I like Starfield. I think it's a great game. I enjoy it. I play a little bit of the DLC so far. I'm kind of, the way I play these types of games is I take a long time because I'm like, ooh, what's this over there? And then before you know it,
how I play. Yeah.
So it takes me a while to beat these types of games. I don't think a Bethesda game is really it's not one of those games that plays really well when you rush it to begin with. But yeah, I mean, overall, that's just how I feel with all the people around the internet that are saying like that's kind of trashing the game. And if they have previous videos talking about how trash it is and why you shouldn't buy it, I've literally seen people who said like why they hate this game and how trash it is. The same people say like why they don't like the DLC. I'm like, oh, surprise! Like if you don't like the first one, what makes you think you're all of a sudden gonna like, oh, the DLC is a 10 out of 10? So that's where it comes from. That's where my point of view essentially comes from. It's just if you like those type of games, cool. You probably like Starfield. If you don't, then it doesn't make sense to put further spotlight on something like it. So.
No, I mean, listen, it's great points all around. Listen, first of all, Everborn, we're going to get you in a hot second. Congratulations! I believe that you have funded the Kickstarter. Is that correct?
Yes, we hit the funding goal today, but we've also, I don't want to take up time with that. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
but,
we will.
We set
Congrats.
up a stretch goal.
Okay, excellent.
And we'll talk about that later, but we actually have another book that is already complete that if we hit our stretch goal, we'll do a print run on that as well. Nice. So that's something that we were going to launch in 2025, but people will be able to get it now if we hit that stretch goal. So, and that stretch goal is just for the print run. So, yeah, we'll talk about it later, but thank you everyone so much. And we still have 5 days to go. So please, please, please check out the Everborn Kickstarter. Just go to Kickstarter and type in Everborn, and you will see we have a bunch of add-ons as well as a new stretch goal. I'd really like to see if we can get this thing over that stretch goal line in the last 5 days that we have to go. So this is your last chance. And remember, we already did 2 variant covers that are only available as a part of this campaign. You will not be able to get them later.
We'll talk about that in the back end, brother. Yeah, we'll talk about that in the back end. But
congratulations. Thank you so much. Can I speak to what 3-Bit was talking about?
Sure.
It's I was having this conversation with friend of the channel, Lucius Augustus, earlier today in a DM. And I think that the issue with Bethesda these days, like, listen, let's just all be honest. Hating on Starfield is big business, right?
I literally said that before you got here.
Your game is not getting the right amount of eyeballs it needs. Compare it to Starfield, right? Your website needs a little bit more traffic. Talk about how bad Starfield is. That's one part of it, right? I will not deny that. But I think another thing is, for the people that are being genuine about liking or not liking the game, I think the issue that I'm seeing is, and I've noticed this since Starfield came out, a lot of people are judging Starfield specifically. It's basically like Starfield is fighting ghosts, right? So they're saying, well, I know how I felt when I played Skyrim for the first time. I know how I felt when I played Fallout 4. I don't feel that way when I play this, but they're not really looking at the game for what it actually is. They're looking at it for the feeling that they had a decade ago, right? And you may be a different person today and think it's not as easy to give you that same feeling. It's not as it's not basically, no matter what they do, you may never feel that way or have that sense of joy again. So for me, and I do this all the time with films, because back when like the MCU was in its height and there was all this speculation, and Mav, I know you know about this, there was all this speculation about what was going to be in the next MCU movie, and then when that rumor didn't happen in the movie, people would walk away upset. And I would always say you have to judge the product based on what you got, not based on what you were hoping it to be, right? So, and I see this over and over again. It didn't feel like this. It doesn't. It needs to feel like what it is. And if you can judge it based on that, and then if you come to a conclusion of I like it or I don't like it, great. But I don't think we should try to say, well, it's not like No Man's Sky, or it's not like this, right? And again, Pepperidge Farm always remembers. Remember when we first saw Star Wars Outlaws, and everyone said this is how you do an open world space romp of a game, and how that turned out.
Yeah,
right. So I think the comparisons of other games, or wanting to chase a certain feeling that you had as a teenager or in your formative years, I don't think that's the right way to go about these things. I think we have to judge them based on what they are, and not what we wanted them to be. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. It absolutely does. Real quick, just a show update. Hargeet, I don't know whether you noticed, Fonz has just announced that there is not going to be a show this evening.
Yeah, we don't really have much to talk about, so we're like, meh.
So FYI, I saw somebody. I didn't see it on Twitter myself. Somebody actually had posted it, so I want to make sure that if you were waiting for Fonz's show at 10 p.m., there is not going to be a show this evening. Nope, he has just posted on his Twitter. But hey,
sorry, one thing, Boom. Hargeet, you said you weren't able to launch the game. Was that on
No, I can launch the game
or on PC?
No, I'm able to launch the game. It just won't recognize any DLC.
But is that on PC or on the Xbox?
PC.
What are you looking for the DLC?
Are you playing it in Steam, or are you playing it?
No. I wish I were on Steam, because then it would work.
See,
unfortunately,
you know what I'm gonna say, Hargeet.
And freaking Xbox
Microsoft Store is
just absolutely disgusting.
So you launched into a different system in space, and just went into space, launching into a different system?
Like when it starts up, like you have the DLCs that were there from the original premium, and since those are in my save game, it tells me outright I can't load these DLCs. So, so I already know it has a problem. And so Shattered Space is installed. It doesn't even recognize it. I've gone to like 10 different systems and no signal or anything. So I know it's just not seeing it.
Didn't they say you have to complete the one small step mission?
This is right before you go and do the ending of the game. That's why.
He's far enough. Way far enough.
You might have to finish the game and then come back and do one small step again.
No, just have to do one small.
You literally have to just have done the one small step mission, which is where you start the game.
Way past that.
And anywhere else in the entire game, whether you're literally at the end or right past one small step, it's supposed to activate.
Do you have to be level 35? I saw somebody post something.
45.
Okay, yeah, I don't know why
it's way ahead of that.
That sucks, man. That sucks, dude.
Yeah, especially because again, everyone's going to have their opinions. No one's attacking anybody for having a bad opinion of Starfield. I just think that there is something more here. Mav, I want to get your hot take on it, because I saw you've been on the socials, and obviously look, I said it, and he wasn't even in the room. And what did Everborn say when he came in here? Hating on Starfield is big business. I'm sorry. I'm not taking a broad stroke here, folks, and saying that everyone that dislikes it is somehow either evil, a monster, or a grifter. I'm not suggesting that at all. But I'm sorry to say there are a lot of creators out there who have been doing this on a regular basis, and they know their audience. And when they want to make money, when they want to make clicks, when they want to get new subs, take a shit on Starfield, and it just brings the flies. I'm sorry, that's what it is. Mav, let's get your hot take on this.
Yeah, so I've been playing it. I've been playing on PC mainly. I'm not super far into it because I'm like 3-bit and you. I kind of slow play these things. I know everybody can play your games differently how you want to, but for me, it's kind of almost how these games are meant to be played. If I rush through the story on this, I'm not really experiencing what a Bethesda game is to me, right? Or any of the special things about it. Instead, I'm just kind of going through the systematic processes of the story, and then that's it. And you can judge it for that. And if that's all you're looking for, and you want to judge it for what that is, and that's fine, right? But for me, when I play a Bethesda game or I play a game like Starfield, I'm looking for all the things that make that game special, or like that game, what it is. Why is this game so ambitious? What are all the things that they're doing that is different from everything else? What makes it unique? And that's what I'm looking for with that. And that's what I'm looking for with Shattered Space, that it adds to Starfield, right? And I think that so far I've been really happy with what I've seen. It's gorgeous. I'm liking where the story's going. And I'm just going to kind of explore and take it all in, man. But it's been great so far. As far as the critique and criticism, man, it's not a surprise. Like Everborn laid out perfectly. 3-bit was talking about reviews perfectly, way more eloquently than I usually go, because I usually go on tirades. However, hating on Starfield is big business. And you saw this with the lead up actually to Shattered Space, right? You saw this with the lead up to it because you already had these articles basically setting this up. You had Paul Tassie's article saying, as a matter of fact, into the headline saying, Shattered Space will determine how much Bethesda will support Starfield going forward. And then completely contradicts himself in the entire article, saying, this could actually have some implications, maybe not, but Todd Howard said they're going to keep supporting it for 10 years, right? And they already have other expansions planned. So it's like, well, but in your headline, you said that this will determine how much they support Starfield. You mean to tell me the company that resurrected Fallout 76 is going to give up on the most successful launched Bethesda game of all time? Really? Where are we actually going there? I don't think so. Then you have other articles saying like, oh, will this game save Starfield?
That was the one I was holding in my back pocket.
Being a financial success, being a critical hit, having tons of players that love and play the game. Oh, we need to save this game from all of that horribleness. No, we need to save it from idiotic takes on the internet from the people that just don't like the game, but just for months and months and months just won't shut up about it. Hey, it's cool if you don't like it. That's fine. I understand you're getting attention because of it, right? So that's fine, right? If you don't like something so much, why spend so much energy talking about it all the time? It is so strange to me. Like, if that's what you want, man, I just imagine seeing a show that you just didn't like once, right? I'm like, I'm going to talk about how much I hated this TV show for 6 months. Oh, you know what? Actually, a year. Oh my God, there's another episode coming out. I'm going to make sure I make everybody know how I feel about that. Oh, it's just so weird, man. It's just weird energy.
To be fair, Mav, that happens all the time.
It does. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
You know what Starfield needs? It needs an Emmy-nominated TV show, and then everyone will realize they'll like it. But we know what the truth of the matter is. The moment this gets announced for PlayStation, everybody's going to find their love for it.
Of course they are. Of course
I know it. Listen, think about Sea of Thieves. Right? 35 million players on its own, and nobody realizes 40 million. Sorry, excuse me. and no one realizes it's the cat's pajamas until it's going to PlayStation.
Oh, it finally clicked with me, man. It's got haptic feedback now. Holy crap! We can feel
and then the shadows are
God.
going to be better on the PS5 Pro, and then everybody's going to lose their mind. This is what's going to happen. So
The
they
best
need a
place to
TV
play.
show, and they need to announce it for PlayStation, and everyone will fall in love with it again. But on a serious note, I think another part of the issue, right? Jokes aside, another part of the issue is people that either have an issue with either Microsoft, or some people don't have an issue with Microsoft, they have an issue with Bethesda, right? When you walk into a game or anything and you walk in with a chip on your shoulder that says this thing needs to fix all of my ailments with this organization, right? So all of the bad press that either Bethesda or Microsoft has, if you walk into the game and say, if this thing doesn't change my mind on all of that, then it's a disappointment and a failure. And I just, again, come back to, don't like the game, but don't like it for what it's doing, not saying you have to walk in there and it has to change your mind about a way you already felt. Right? It feels like there's a lot of that going on.
You remember when like Destin Legary, like when I'm saying names, I'm not trying to ultimately criticize these people. I'm just saying, I'm just using examples, right? Like Paul Tassi's stupid article. Like Destin Legary, when he kept comparing this game, Starfield, to No Man's Sky, right? And then he was like, why does everybody keep getting upset that I keep mentioning that this is like No Man's Sky, right? And we're like, because it's not like No Man's Sky. And you're misleading people into thinking it's the kind of game that it's not. And guess what? A lot of people, when Starfield came out, was like, man, I really wish this whole thing, it was more like No Man's Sky. Well, like, okay, it was because you've all been thinking this thing. But literally during the Dev Direct, the last 45-minute Dev Direct, they literally broke down how all the systems are going to work in Starfield. Like, they showcased everything, right? And people just choose whether or not to pay attention to that. Instead, they have a perception of the feeling or the kind of game, because it's a space game, that they were thinking it was going to be, right? And you hit the nail on the head, Everborn, about judging things for what they are and not what they're not, right? And that's something that like a lot of us have lost the plot on. Another game that happened to was Suicide Squad, right? Yeah. Suicide Squad, we all were kind of disappointed when it was announced that they're making Suicide Squad and what it was when we finally saw the gameplay. And it's like, oh, but we really want Rocksteady to make another Batman game, right? But we can't let that actually affect our enjoyment or our perception of the game when we're playing it, because it is still a high quality game with great production values. It has a really good story. It's really fun. It has good gunplay, but yet it doesn't get credit for any of those things. Instead, it only is thought of as, hey, it's not Batman, right? And that kills the game. It kills the momentum. Everybody's like, we're sick of these kind of games, but they're only sick of them when they talk about Suicide Squad. When other games come out for other franchises or new IPs that are games of service games or anything like that, it's like, hey, this is awesome. I'm really having fun playing this game.
You had articles that say like why looter shooters are a problem.
Or you literally had IGN say that hopefully Suicide Squad will kill this genre, right? Yeah. But then later actually championing other games in the similar genre. And like Concord even. Like, I mean, so like, it is just strange how people will pick and choose what things to hate on and what things to champion based on just the own personal preference of the time. And that happens a lot. And Starfield has gotten the back end of that, like where it's on the opposite side, where it's more popular to hate on it. But it hasn't actually really affected the game as much negatively as people would think. It was still the biggest launch in ZeniMax Bethesda's history. The game sold crazy well. It had extreme amount of Game Pass subscribers. I remember that they also talked about it had the most new Game Pass subscriptions for Xbox when that game launched, and it still has a lot of people playing today. Would they like more positive reception out there? I'm sure they would, but ultimately, I don't think that it is going to affect too much. You have some positivity out there for the people that are playing it because they like Starfield,
right?
And then you have the negativity out there for the people that are just not into it, and that's fine, you know. But there are some of the, you know, there's the big business of hating on Starfield also.
I do think that, but like, I think Starfield is like, we don't realize it, but it is sort of a zeitgeist IP, right? Like, it drives traffic, it drives subscriptions, it drives console sales, it drives Game Pass signups, and it drives traffics to people's websites as long as they talk about it, right? And so that by all those metrics, right? You could even think about like how much traffic does it drive to someone's website? I don't care if they're saying good or bad things about it. I'm just saying it does drive traffic, it drives revenue, it drives all those things. So, you know, that to me is a success. Now,
hating on Xbox does also.
Well,
let's just be real. It goes even far beyond Starfield, right?
Absolutely.
I just got a hypothetical question real quick. Right. So one game is lauded as a massive success, right? Praised because of its high review score, which is Astrobot. Not taking anything away from it. I'm sure it's amazing, right? But what game is actually more successful, Starfield or Astrobot?
That would be
Starfield
by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, 100%.
Not even close.
So why are we not having articles? Will the next DLC save Astrobot?
I mean, you're not wrong.
It just doesn't make sense, right? Because it doesn't need anything, right? Neither does Starfield. But it's business to say that it does.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it is what it is. Everyone has had different experiences. Brett Bingham in the chat says that he's playing it currently with no problems. There's been many people
said he had the same issue.
Yeah, Keasante had the same issues.
Was Keasante playing on the Xbox PC app?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know, but look, I'm going to say this. The fact that the game itself, the DLC, refuses to work for some is disgusting. It's a disgrace, and it should not happen in 2024. Bethesda needs to get out there forthwith and get this thing fixed. All right, it did not launch today, right? It launched the other day, so they've had some time to figure it out. They need to make a public statement, say we're aware of the problem, address it, get in front of it, and fix it. Now, granted, it's obviously there are going to be people like Hargeet, like Keasante, and a few others that have not been able to play it, and that is gross. All right, so smoke for Xbox, smoke for Bethesda for allowing that to happen. This was a DLC that we all knew was coming, and it was supposed to be one of the biggest DLCs of the year. Like I said, for me, zero problems, almost 8 hours in, and I'm loving it. And I'm finding all kinds of things because like Mav and like 3-Bit and like many others, I don't go from point A to Z. I'm going to A, and there's B, and I know where B is, and I'm like, wow, what's that shiny thing? So now that I have the Rev 8, I'm just jetting all over the place and using my laser to shoot everything I can get my hands on to level up. I've had a complete blast. I know that one of the reviews by a very, very popular YouTuber said that there were no companions. That is not, in fact, true at all, because you can find at least 2, and I found one of them. So
it's amazing how you can skip these things if you just rush through.
You can miss these. Yeah. You can miss them. There's a specific mission that I'm going on right now. Thank you to Nico, and this is going to be the second person that will be able to join the crew. Thanks to Nico going on Twitter and not only taking amazing pictures like, hey, if you find this lady, do the mission, you'll thank me later. And I happened to come across it, and the name is so unusual. I was like, oh, shit, this is what he was talking about. I stopped all my other missions. I'm like, yeah, let's go. So I am absolutely having a blast with it. And I feel terrible for Hargeet. I feel terrible for anyone else that's having this issue because it's not right. And the righteous smoke should definitely be laid at their doorstep. Bethesda, you're supposed to know better. This is, come on, man. Put on the big boy pants and get this fixed, because you have people that literally paid for the DLC that can't play it. It's unacceptable. What I do not like is the grifting. What I do not like is the people, and again, it's make your content how you're going to make your content, which is why I don't mention names, Because like I said, that's the kind of smoke I don't roll in those waters. But I am going to say that it is gross when people are doing it for simply a paycheck and being totally disingenuous, not only to the gaming populace, but to their subscribers. And that to me is gross. But again, people are going to do their business how they're going to do the business, perfectly fine. But everyone has had a shot at Starfield, whether you're enjoying it or you're not. Great. I do want to get to the second half of the show, folks, and this is where this is going to be a bit spicy. Now, Hargeet, I'm going right back to you because you and I were talking in the green room when it was just me and you, and we both kind of agreed that the PlayStation 5 Pro Energy, where the fact you can still pre-order it right now, and mind you, you can only pre-order it from PlayStation Direct. General Pop, or Gen Pop, as the kids like to say, are getting it on the 10th. So you'll be able to go to your Walmarts and your Targets and your Best Buys and your GameStops and wherever else you do your fine electronic shopping and pre-order it then. But though I got to admit, the fact that it's still available is giving off that PlayStation VR 2.0 energy. And what that is saying, at least in my personal opinion, is people just don't want this thing. And if they did, it would have sold out. Now, what did sell out, Hargeet, was the 30th anniversary for good reason. Now, if you are a PlayStation fan, not a stan, not a fanboy, if you are a fan of the brand, and there are people out there who enjoy the brand and they're allowed to do that, they wanted in on the 30th anniversary controller, the console, the Edge, and that is awesome. And you should be, if you are a PlayStation fan. You want to celebrate the brand that you love, then you should, get in on that. Unfortunately, I think the 12,000 whatever it was that they had was all scalpers. I don't know anyone that I have not spoken to anyone that actually is like, hey, I'm a PlayStation diehard. I've been with the brand since XYZ. I got a console. I'm so excited. I have not heard that, and that's a shame. That's a real shame that has happened. But Hargeet, let's get to the PlayStation 5 Pro. If it's not selling out at the only place that you can buy it, and that's PlayStation Direct, it's not selling out there. I got to be honest with you. I don't know how much, and I'm going to get to the super chats in a hot second. I will get there, folks. There's 7 of them in there, so I want to get to them before, after I speak with Hargeet. Hargeet, this is one of those situations where I don't think it is going to sell. I originally had clocked it in at maybe 6 to 8% of the populace of the 61 million PlayStation gamers that already own a PlayStation 5 may decide that they can buy it outright for $700 plus tax, or of course $830 plus tax if you need the vertical stand and the disk drive. I think this is going to sit on the shelves. Now, granted, it is going to be releasing soon, and it's going to be releasing right before the holiday rush. So you're probably going to get some holiday buys. There's no doubt about it. I just think that this is a bust. And you actually had a theory that I kind of want you to kind of dig in a little bit about. With this console coming out, does this actually kind of hold off what's going to happen and when it's going to happen for the PlayStation 6?
Yeah, I mean, look, so there was always a gamble here. This is, in the modern era, at least one of the most expensive consoles we've come up with, right? And look, the good thing is you do still have the lower tier, right? So you can still just buy a PS5 normal.
Right.
You don't have to spend the $700. And it looks like nobody's really looking at it as a good investment. And I have to say, part of this is just there's no buzz behind it. They had a state of play. They had a new game announced of their own first party, and they didn't even show PS5 Pro footage, right? Normally, that's just what you would do. The entire state of play, or at least good half of it, should have been captured on, PS5 Pro. They don't even bother. And, if you're not going to create buzz, if you're not going to say, hey, this is the killer app that's going to make this worth it, and you're going to charge like the most in your history, right, for a console.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of like shoot yourself in the foot there. It's just, it is what it is. Like, it's telling when even the scalpers don't care. They're not buying it either. So Like it just tells you that like there is no buzz for this, right? The as you mentioned, the 30th anniversary, that gone, right? Sold out in a second, gone. So, but that was expected. 12,300 units, right? That was gonna go. But yeah, this thing is just they have to give you a reason to buy it, and they haven't yet. If they're not going to make a case, then why would somebody want to spend $700 on it? Now, look, there are going to be enthusiasts who just don't care. They will buy it. Good for them. Go for it. Why not? I'm not going to watch your wallet. You do whatever you want, right? Fine. But the majority of people who play on a console are usually not going to overspend like that. They're going to, because if they can overspend, then let's face it, they'd buy
They'll go PC. Yeah, exactly.
And they'll get everything they want. The only thing you're getting here is higher frame rate at better resolution, right? The resolution's available to you on PS5. It's just not the higher resolution along with it, the higher frame rate with it, right? So you already get the resolution. It's just really you want more frames. But that's PC. That's exactly what PC does. It gives you any choice you want. So if you want to do that, that's where you'd go, right? Who is this for? I've always been asking, who is this for? Unless you give me a new feature set that's going to like exemplify why this is leagues better, why would somebody spend the money? And that's kind of where this is a problem. I kind of agree with the Phil deciding why am I going to do a mid-gen? They gave you the mid-gen. It's the Series X. You've got it. That's as much as you need. Like, to go to the next level, you need a next gen, right? Your CPU needs to be bumped up. You need to have an NPU. It needs to go further, and they're not going to be there because they have to be compatible with what's going on PS5. It can't be dramatically different. And that's where the problem comes in. It was easier to say there's a PS4 Pro, there's a 1X, because we went from 1080 to 4K. That's an easy jump. You can see it. You can just see the resolution difference, right? You have a 4K TV, you can see it. This isn't happening here. It's the same resolution, just higher frame rate. And it's like, well, is it worth $700? I don't know, man. So it's where we are, right? And does that mean it's going to sell like, a PSVR 2? I assume it's going to do better than that. I hope. But it could end up being much less as far as what we were expecting. Like, people were still thinking it'd be in the PS4 Pro range. I think it'd be about half about that. It was, I think it was like 14%, 12% for the PS4 Pro. I think it's gonna be about half about that. That level. It could be worse. If it is gonna like not sell, it could be worse. I hope it's not at that level where it's a PSVR 2, because that is a major hit, right?
Yep.
And they can't keep taking these hits. They have had hit after hit after hit on their financials. Like, Bungie is a massive fail. It just is. I mean, the fact that they take it over, it's obvious that that's a fail. Concord, like, that's a big, massive L, right? And you just keep going. Like, they just keep having these L's that just keep adding up. PSVR 2, you mentioned. At some point, it's going to keep coming back to them to like, okay, what do you do to fix this and turn it around? You can't keep taking L's. If it starts to hit profit, which it is, what do you do to turn that around? So we'll see what they do here. I hope it's not. Like, I think they're not selling it at loss. I hope. Because if they are, that's a major problem. But if they're not selling it at loss, hopefully they only built so many and they will get through that inventory. The other thing you could do is cut the cost. And I don't know if they want to cut the cost. So they're kind of stuck. Boom, to your point, like, the big opening thing happens in a week or so where people can start buying it themselves at like the normal retailers, right?
Yep. Cool.
We'll see what that really means. We'll see if it sells out or not. If it doesn't sell out, well, either they've met demand, right, which is also possible, that they knew how much people are going to buy and we built that many and we're good, right? That's a possibility.
Yes.
It's not usual, though. Usually these things sell out when they're just introduced. Usually, right? So if we're to take it from previous historical launches, this is not looking that great. But hey, it could also be they just made enough. They know how much their demand is going to be, and they've met that demand. Fair enough. The financials will be the thing that tells us where the heck they are. We'll get the NPDs, right? We'll get all those nice numbers next year. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, it's not unexpected. We all saw that sticker shock with $700, even though like we all predicted it was going to be $700. But when it actually happened, you saw the faces like, oh shit, they actually did it. Oh wow, $700, dang. Right. It is what it is, though. Right. So we will see where that goes. The PS6 thing, this is the problem they're going to run into and this is a big if Xbox is launching their console in the next, like, if they're going to 2026 or 27 earlier than them, because they've basically set their cycle now. It took them 18 months to take this from design phase, which is already done, to production phase. Right. So that means it was a design phase before it, which probably was another 6 months to a year. That gives you your runway. It's about 3 years. It's going to take them 3 years. And if they want to get PS6, you're looking at least that much time to get it going. And so you're looking at like 25, 26, 27 at the earliest, and it's unlikely it's going to be 27. It's more likely to be 28. Right? And if Xbox started their next gen beginning of this year, late last year, then they've got this runway, right? So this year, 25, 26, they can deploy in 26 or 27. So now that's kind of where we are. So they're gonna be a little stuck with this because they did this. They don't have to wait it out. We'll see. They might be able to pull it in. It's if they push everything, it might happen, but it's usually not the case. So that's the problem with doing this mid-gen. I think they screw themselves. If Xbox pulls in and says we're doing ours earlier, they're in trouble.
I guarantee you that based on this information, that's exactly what they're doing. 3-bit, I want to bring you in on the conversation. So I brought up some numbers. Now we know that PlayStation 4 has sold over 118 million worldwide, right? That's a lot of consoles. So where does the PlayStation 4 Pro fall into that 118 million? 14.3 to be exact. That's how many gamers bought the console. I was good for 2 by myself. My brother Neo Mental was good for 2 by himself. I bought the original launch one, and then Mrs. Boom got me the God of War. My brother bought the launch one and got the Destiny one. So we were good for just our family 4 by ourselves. So 14.3 million sold, and there was a jump from 1080p to 4K. So there was a significant reason to buy it. And only 14.3 million consoles sold, which again, using me and my brother as putting us on the stand, we were good for 4 just by ourselves. I'm looking at the fact that you can still buy this console or pre-order it. I think that is a telling tale. Now, if you disagree with me, that's fine. But again, traditionally, when something like this comes out, it is sold out and is nowhere to be found, and you can still get it. And we are not in Gen Pop yet. Gen Pop happens on the 10th. And when that happens, I don't think it's going to sell out there either. I think the sticker shock of $700+ because it's 700. Everyone keeps saying that, and that's a little bit frustrating for me because it's like, oh, we're not counting tax, Boom. It's just $699.99 because it sounds good rolling off of my tongue. But that is for someone that has gone all digital. I still buy discs. So let's just say, for instance, I'm going to put myself on the stand here, and I have a PlayStation 5 Pro. I got the Spider-Man plates. I even got the matching controller because I'm a big old nerd. I even got a Miles Morales freaking cable guy to hold the controller because I like that kind of shit, right? So if I want a PS5 Pro, I got to then take my console and get $400 for it at GameStop. And because I have discs and I stand the console vertically, I'd like to stand it vertically, I got to buy the $30 stand. And I got to buy the disc drive. And with all of that said and done, that's $830+. To me, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
And I think what you're seeing here is people are not going to invest simply because of the world that we live in. This was a bad play by Sony. Let's get your thoughts.
Yeah. Listen, so you have someone in the chat said he mentioned releasing a Pro with PSSR will only help them with a PS6, and they'll be way ahead. And my response to that will just be like, they are ahead for sure because the PlayStation 6 is rumored to come out in 2028. That's the rumor. We'll see if that's true. But Xbox has kind of set themselves in a decent position here, just because it's kind of the race to GTA 6 is kind of how I see it. The whole industry is kind of looking at GTA 6 with that being rumored and coming out. What is it? I guess next year. We'll see if that actually
supposedly
happens.
Holiday 25 is what they're
3-bit. When
Yeah.
you said that, I just thought about the Watchmen graphic novel, and I pictured GTA 6 as Rorschach.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
all ask me to save them, and I'll tell them no.
No. I love that.
Go ahead.
And I love
There's
that.
this-
I love that movie.
That's how about my
Shout out to Watchmen. People should watch that. But no, it's like when you're really looking at it. So the PS5 Pro, $700. It's like a hard sale right now. And when you're looking at the future of it, and you're looking at like what is happening between Xbox and PlayStation, like Xbox is in a decent position. You're looking at the possibility of Xbox being the one console that can play GTA 6 on the go with a handheld, possibly having better performance than the PS5 Pro and Series X, right? Because they are still touting performance based on Sarah Bond's responses and things like that. So I just think it's a hard sell to begin with. You have Digital Foundry comparisons looking like a contrast boost at $700. You have vertical stand that is sold separately, and if you want to put in a disc, you have to buy that separately too. So for something that is supposed to be an addition, for some people, I feel like it feels like you're subtracting an experience. They also don't have like any killer app like first party game, something that Hargeet mentioned, to kind of showcase its capabilities. So instead of like what they're doing is showcasing games that people have already played, showing. I just feel like they just missed the opportunity there, because you have new games coming out, like the new Venom. You have Ghost of Utah. I believe is how you pronounce it, but Ghost of Utah kind of looks similar to the previous game. So looking forward to playing it. But these are games that like are coming out soon, and you have. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity. I feel like you have YouTubers and Digital Foundry doing a better job at showcasing the PS5 Pro than what Sony is officially doing. So, I mean, there's a reason why I feel like most of the casual audience is still on the PS4, while Sony is kind of touting generations and things like that. I just feel like or just in an interesting spot generationally where a lot of people are like, why should I get a PS5 Pro? You get the diehards, of course, but I don't know if they're appealing to the diehards. It's still a tough sell because of the price and the things you're taking away. Not enough of a first party proposition with it showcasing its capabilities. You're starting to up the price on older games like the original Horizon because you want people to buy your new remaster.
They doubled the price, actually.
Double the price, and like so even when you're talking about the games itself, you're like, oh well, we could just keep remastering. That's not enough for people who are on the PS4 to want to get a brand new $700 system, in my opinion. There's just a lot of people waiting to see like, okay, what's that one thing that will make me jump over? Because there's so many people who are comfortable within the PS4. Like, I'm chilling, because you really think about the casual market. The casual market isn't who is in this panel. It's not probably the people in this chat. It's people who are playing FIFA, playing Call of Duty, and that they have their comfort games. Those are their comfort games. They pretty much stick to it. Not everybody is looking at like, oh, I need to up my graphic card or my performance and things. I'm worried about stuff like that because I'm a gamer, right? But the casual market, they don't care. They play on the Switch and things like that with tiled grass on Pokemon, and they're perfectly happy. I need the performance, the graphics, and all that stuff because that's what I'm passionate about, and that's what I like. But most of the casual audience, they're not vibing with that. They're like, oh, like they're looking at these comparison videos and you're zooming in like 800 and you're like, oh, I guess I see a difference. The crowd is a little different. Okay, it's a little sharper, and it's just not enough for people, in my opinion, to make a jump like so huge of a jump for $700. Now I seen people earlier on touting like, oh, it's sold out. They were talking about the collector's edition. And immediately it was this scalped, and that looked awesome. Actually, I just love the way that looked. But for most people, it's just not enough. It's just not enough for people to invest in my opinion. I'm always in the camp of cool mid-gen refreshes. I'm down, sure, why not? They just put themselves in an interesting position generationally because of what's about to happen. Is Xbox will be the first to release their next gen console And then Sony's probably not going to release theirs unless they speed up production and plans and things like that till 2028. So if you're thinking about what's happening now, sure, some people talking about PSSR and how that can change performance for the PS6 and your settings it yourself up and things like that. Sure. I think any tech where you are starting to up-res resolutions and things like that, just talking from my game developerness, it is cool. I don't like when developers rely on that because when you start relying on optimization features, it leads to the problem where things are still 30 FPS. Like you're like, oh, I could just rely on all these tech to optimize my game for me. Separate conversation. But yeah, man, I it's not for me. When I saw it, I'm like, dang, you just hitting people like with that price. You're like, oh, it just feels like a gut punch with the 700, and then like, oh, you're not going to include the disc. It just feels like you're subtracting to me what's something that's supposed to be a pro. I don't know.
It's supposed to be premium, and it's
supposed to be
it's
the
just
premium.
not. Yeah,
When you think like a
it's not.
premium thing, you think like, oh, I get a controller, I get all this stuff, and then you're like, no, we're taking away the stand. You're gonna have to buy that. Oh, we're taking away the disc. You're gonna have to buy. You know, it's not for me. It's not for me personally. But.
Yeah, no, I mean, great points all around. Listen, before we bring Mav in over here, I want to just catch up on the super chats. First one of the day comes away of RC Polygons. Drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he goes, so apparently trying to find why people may or may not skip your platform is a bad thing. People are angry at Xbox for trying to improve. It's dumb. I mean, listen, you know, we've been talking about this for the last couple of years. Hashtag Xbox tax, folks. It is a real thing, and it is a moneymaker for some sites and YouTubers. It's a fact. Talk crappy about Xbox, get new clicks, and that's just unfortunately the business. Adam Schaefer says this after dropping a very generous $5 super chat. And Adam goes on to say, even sites with Xbox in their name are scoring the DLC poorly. That's not bias. It's just not good. I mean, if you don't think it's good, Adam, listen, I hear you. I'm not going to fight you on it. I do ask if you're still here. First of all, thank you for the generosity, but have you played it? Have you yourself played the game? I'm interested. Because if you have and you don't like it, then you just don't like it. If you're telling me that Xbox websites are saying that it's no good, and then it's just no good, I may have to disagree there. J Mac, who drops a very generous $5 super chat, goes on to say, shout out to Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. BoomStick XL, and panel. Salute, gentlemen. Great hashtag Graybeards in the building. XWO is a real thing. Everborn Saga for the win. Indeed. We have Alvin Gravemind, who's been a channel member for 2 months. So Alvin, thank you so much for that. He goes on to say, Everborn, this explains why so many journos like Nintendo. The games still, quote unquote, feel like they did 20 years ago when they were younger. Great point. We also have here Munter Yoshi drops a very generous 250-pound super chat and says, unfair. Starfield is always compared to multiplayer games. It's just odd. We have She-Hulk 10, who drops a very generous $2 super chat. So thank you, She-Hulk 10, for being here, and thank you for the generosity. And Asante, who's been a channel member for almost 30 months, bro. That's crazy generous of you, K. Super appreciate it. He says, salute to Boom and friends. Took a personal day today, as in playing Mario Wonder with the kiddos right now, but I'll be back next week. Great show. So thank you so much. Of course, we miss you. But fun speculation, or well, Mav, let's get your hot take on this. I think the sticker shock is enough to what they're asking and what you're getting. At least now, hold on a sec. I've heard some things from people who are tech folks, like Asante says, "Oh, Boom, it is a lofty piece of tech." The problem here is, and he said it in the chat, Sony hasn't shown you why you need to buy this thing. And there's also a problem that how better can the Pro be than the 5? See, that's where we start to run into the muddied water here, because yes, people want the frames, people want the ray tracing, people want all the bells and whistles, and maybe, I don't know, maybe the PlayStation 5 Pro will give that to you. But how much better can it be without hurting the PlayStation 5? So for me, listen, we're in 2024. There is a recession, folks. Everything is expensive. Gas here in New Rochelle, New York is over now over $4 a gallon. That is ridiculous. So everything is going up. I don't think people want to upgrade. I think people are happy. And someone had actually asked about the plates. The answer is no. If the PlayStation 5 Pro, PlayStation 5 plates do not fit on the Pro. So are they going to make Spider-Man plates? Maybe if they do, I would imagine a Miles Morales.
Slim plates fit, Boom? Not the regular one. I heard
not the regular. Well, I don't have a slim. I have a regular launch one.
No, but the slim is much shorter than the Pro.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay.
So no, none of the plates work unless you. The only plates that work are the PlayStation 5 Pro plates, which sucks because, like I said, I bought the Spider-Man ones and they're dope. And no, I'm not getting rid of my PS5. But Mav, let's get your hot take on this. Do you think this spells trouble for Sony that took a risk on this investment? Because again, Hargeet did knock it out of the park. They took a bath with Concord. They are now, apparently taking a bath with Bungie. Bungie's in a pickle. And that means if Bungie's in a pickle, Sony's in a pickle because they spent $3.6 billion on the saviors of their gas game future. And who's going to save the saviors, as the kids like to ask? And I don't have an answer for you. I think the fact that it hasn't sold out spells, at least in my opinion, doom to what's going to happen when it hits Gen Pop in a couple of days. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think ultimately it'll probably end up doing around the same as what the PS4 Pro did, right? And that's you can either say that as a good thing or you can say it as a bad thing. I think it's maybe they expected it to sell out so far, but it didn't quite get there. I don't think it's going to be a huge thing because they weren't going to sell a ton of them anyway, right? Like this is something that is for the Uber PlayStation enthusiast, right? The all-in ecosystem gamer, and it's priced to where they're making profit on the consoles that are selling. So they're not in this huge, I think, loss type phase with just the hardware investment. However, I think what's going to affect it more than any of that is just the way they've been showcasing it, and I haven't had a great selling points for it, right? Online Digital Foundry and those other sites are trying to do their hardest, right? they're trying. They're like, hey guys, this is pretty good, right? But PlayStation themselves has done a pretty bad job of it, of showcasing the benefits of why you need this, because they've really only showcased it with older games, right? So you could pretty much consider it like a PS4 Pro, right? Because the PS5 is pretty much just a lot of PS4 remasters also, so that's like a PS5 Pro, and then this is the PS5 Pro, or PS4 Pro. That's what I'll call it. But it's just,
I think we should call it the quid pro quo because of that price.
Okay, the quid pro quo $700 PS4 Pro. We'll rock with that. It's expensive, right? I'm not gonna lie. If Xbox did the same thing, I would buy one because I'm all in on the Xbox ecosystem, and that's where I play. That's where I buy a lot of games. I play a lot of games, and if it runs my games even a decent marginal amount better, I would find justification in it for me personally, right? So if any enthusiast that's all in on the PlayStation ecosystem is saying, hey, I can't wait for this and I'm going to get it because that's you, right? Hey, kudos to you. But I think it's the other people that they're really failing to capture, right? They're failing to capture the imagination of, wow, that looks awesome. I need to get that because holy crap, it can do something that nothing else can, right? And that happened with last generation with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, but it's not happening with this. But I think the reason is because they still don't have a lot of the games to show, right? And the fact that they didn't have a legitimate showcase to actually announce this thing with was the telling thing. Back then when they did the PS4 Pro and even the PSVR, the original PSVR, they had the whole like 2016 hopes and dreams showcase where they had all these crazy games. They had all the biggest franchises show up with releases coming around the corner within 2 years from that show. And this, we just got another state of play, mostly third parties, highlighting also some older games as well, and then also some more remasters, also remasters that nobody's asking for. And then finally, hey, we have something to look forward to. Great, Ghost of Yote, awesome, looking forward to that. But that game, like, it looks great because Ghost of Tsushima already looked great, but it didn't look like something that I need to get a PS5 Pro for because it looked similar to Ghost of Tsushima, right? So and it already runs great and looks great on a PS5. So I don't know why I need to get a PS5 Pro for that, So they just failed to sell the imagination of it. Again, if I'm all in PlayStation, I play all my third parties, I play everything there, and I like to spend money on cool gadgets, right? I would probably get it just like I would get an Xbox. But I think it's everything else. They're kind of failing to capture the whole this is awesomeness that they've been able to do before. Instead, you have the same crowd kind of being like, I don't need this to play Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster, Until Dawn Remaster. Like, why? 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 We're not asking for these PS4 games again and again and again. That's what we're getting. And I don't need to buy a $700 piece of hardware to play games that I was enjoying in a great fidelity and great smooth frame rate 10 years ago. No, I'm good.
So Mav, you think it'll still sell about the same amount?
Of the PS4 Pro, it'll probably end up eventually hitting close to the percentage wise. But the percentage wise, I don't
know if you're going to go into this or not. But there's one key factor here: is if it doesn't sell, will anybody care about the PS5 enhancement as far as a developer? Will they do the work?
Interesting.
There's not enough out there, right? So I'll let you take that one, Evermore.
Well, okay. There's a few things here. I'm gonna try to I don't know. Let me try to be devil's advocate and give the other side of it. I think the reality is, from Sony's perspective, they know that 7 to 10% of their audience, which would be their hardcore, is going to buy this thing no matter what they show you. It didn't matter what it said. It didn't matter what the price was. There is a certain percentage of their audience that if they make it, they will buy it. These are the people that bought the PS VR 2 and the
handheld thing,
right?
Yeah, the cloud only.
Right. This is the people that the term was coined, charge them more for, right? So, and the reality is, it is a device for that audience, right? It is not for the person who hasn't decided on whether they want a PS5 yet. If you haven't decided you wanted a PS5 yet, this is not going to make your mind for you. If you, because the thing is, like, the PS5 and with the disc and non-disc is still available. So this is just for the people who, maybe you could argue, have more money than sense, but that's for each person in their own wallets to decide. I'm not going to decide that. But and then the other thing, in terms of them not like selling it the way we think they should, is you can't actually have this thing until when? November? Is that when you can walk into a store and get it?
Yep.
So I wonder if they don't want to miss regular sales from people who want to get something right now. So if we make the PS5 look bad, then maybe people will say, I'll wait to November, and then they lose sales in the meantime. Like, we told you about the new thing, it's better than the current thing, but the new thing doesn't come out for another 2-3 months. So now you start losing sales on the current thing. And I do wonder if we'll see them go harder on that front once you can actually buy one. And now, as to it not selling out, I Whether it hits the 10 to 14% mark, I don't know, but I do think it's relevant that people may, even if they want it, even if they would buy a Pro, not everyone has that $700, or excuse me, $810 plus tax if you need a disc, right? And chances are, if and a stand, if you are a hardcore gamer, hardcore PlayStation like person, like an enthusiast, you probably have a lot of discs. So when you buy this thing, you have to say, do I want to get rid of every disc that I've bought, or do I want to go and now spend another $80? Right. So, I more think of this as $800, but I don't fault them. When you have a small percentage of your audience that will literally buy anything that you sell them, why not sell them, even if it's only 7 to 10% of your total install base? Why not have something for them? Because they're going to pay you anyway. They could have charged $1,000 for it. And this group of people, again, it's not everybody. Timmy's mom is not subject to this price. I know Timmy's mom is the scapegoat for all of our casuals argument, but like the average consumer who doesn't have it, it's not for them. It's for the person that's willing to spend $1,000 on nothing.
Well, these are the same enthusiasts that you find with, like, for instance, iPhone. Like, they will go out and get the $1,400 phone every year because
I make the decision every year. Am I going to spend another $1,000 to use the same 5 apps? Right?
Yeah.
So this is the thing, and I don't think we should fault them. I also don't think it made any sense for Xbox to make any. And I do want to address this other point if we didn't address it already, because I see a lot of this from the Xbox community and other people. The price of the PS5 Pro has nothing to do with how much Xbox is competing. If we look at where we are in this generation, neither of the platform holders, including Nintendo, so none of them have been able to lower prices. In fact, we've seen price increases. Right? There's an Xbox 2 terabyte right now for $599. Yep. It's inflation, it's cost of goods, it's all those things, and so I think even if Xbox did make a Pro, it would not come in at less than $700, not one that was worthwhile. So I think the price is the price. Now, should they have canceled this thing? I don't know. Maybe they were too far into it.
I think Everborn, what they should have done is released the disc version with a 1 terabyte hard drive, because they'd have been able to sell it for less.
Yeah.
$650 maybe, and then also people wouldn't have to think about buying the disc drive on top of it as well, right?
Yeah, I do wonder though, right? Because we heard that they have 2 SKUs for the PS6. This is just the PS6 conversation we brought up.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the pisser, as Keisante likes to call it, since it's an upscaling tool, I wonder if that will be in service of a potential handheld that they're going to make. Because like, there's no way that Sony can't have a handheld variant for their next generation. You have to. That's table stakes at this point, right?
Yep.
Between Nintendo, if Microsoft is also going to do it, we see what the Steam Deck is doing. So I do think PlayStation will have a new handheld, and this upscaling tech, I think, could be good for that. And we did see, Xbox told us this, right? With the Xbox One X, they trained, I think it was the what's their storage tech with the textures? What's that called?
Kraken or
Velocity?
The Velocity architecture, right?
Oh,
Velocity,
they created that by taking the what they learned, or the data that they got back from the Xbox One X, right? And then they incorporated it into their architecture for the series generation. PSSR could be the same thing, and it could help the PS6 and whatever their handheld variant is. And just one other point, I think for both sides of the aisle, I think the next generation consoles do not come in at any lower than $599.
Oh yeah,
I think
there's no doubt that
$599
they're
is
going
the
to be
base point
expensive.
for
Yeah, there's
whatever
no doubt about
Xbox
it.
and
Yeah.
PlayStation is doing. Sampler
Yeah,
feedback. Sampler feedback. Pixelbit G got it. Shout out to
Nice.
Pixelbit.
Welcome, Pixel.
That was the
Yeah, that's part of the velocity stuff, right? Sampler feedback.
Yep. Well, look, at the end of the day, we'll see. We also have Psychonauts, so shout out to him. He just dropped in there. He reconfirmed that we knew it already, but he reconfirmed it that pre-orders open up in his store or his stores in GameStop on the 10th of October. Of course, that is going to be across the board. You're going to see them. You'll be able to get your console if you want it from Best Buy, from Walmart, from Target, from any of your favorite electronic stores. But look, at the end of the day, this was a great conversation. 90 minutes, incredible panel. Again, started out with unfortunate news that poor Asante and Hargeet can't even play their freaking game, which is just egregious. But there are people that like myself who are playing it and very much enjoying it. I know someone in the chat said it currently has a 58 Metacritic. I mean, if Metacritic is how you play your games, then don't play it. Don't get the DLC.
So somebody in the chat earlier also Boom mentioned Xbox sites also don't like it. So there's 2 Xbox named sites on Meta because there's only 5 reviews there right now, right?
Right.
And one of the Xbox ones is Xbox Era. They gave it a 90. The other one is Pure Xbox, right? Pure Xbox is owned by IGN. So I'm not going to put their review actually and hold any kind of weight whatsoever.
No, I mean, again, look.
Honest.
Again, the I think the tagline of the day here, Mav, and for the chat is hate for Xbox is big business, and it's a fact. Whether you want to agree with it, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, that is perfectly fine. I don't expect everyone like lemmings to agree with me. That's how I personally feel. I've been in the business long enough, almost 6 years. Come November, been doing this, and it's blatantly obvious what brings in the clicks. Anytime your site is your particular website, we've seen this time and time again, are hurting for those clicks, shit on Xbox. Xbox is dying. Game Pass isn't sustainable. Just make an anti-Xbox tweet. You'll get 1 million likes or impressions. It's just
your game's not getting any press. Boom. Blame the Series S. You got an RPG coming out. Not enough people have paid attention to it compared to Starfield.
Yeah, that's it. That's
absolutely it. Was Series S's fault. Actually.
Yeah, everything. World hunger is the Series S's fault. God damn it! They can't figure it out. But look, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. A big thank you to all the super chat. We have a channel member chat. No, sir, who's been a channel member for 3 months says, "What's up, panel? How was each of your experience with Shattered Space?" He says shit's difficult, and I'm level 70. Yeah, those new creatures. You try, even if you try to fly to get on top of something, they're like glowing praying mantises. That's what they look like, and they jump up, they chase you. So yeah, I've died. I save a lot. I also save before every pick that I use. So if I F up, I go right back and I reload the save so I don't F up. That's a little trick. But let's get everyone out of here, folks. We'll start first with Hargeet. Now, Hargeet, again, you have your own YouTube channel.
We got a couple more super chats, by the way.
Oh, we got a couple more in here. Okay, let me see what we got. Oh, yeah, we do actually have MMac22TH54. So Mac, what's up, brother? Welcome, and thank you so much for the very generous $2 super chat. And says, who on the panel pre-ordered one of them for themselves? I don't think anyone did. I don't think anyone.
Well, PS5 Pro?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to get the anniversary edition so I could flip it because I got a house renovation I'm working on, and if I can get one, I will. And
Hargeet got one.
I got the Slim 30th, I got the Pro 30th, and the Portal 30th. So I got the whole thing.
I should have called
you.
That
comes
with all the controllers. I've got everything. I've got the whole package.
You're gonna give them away, right? In the community.
Right.
Just it's funny. I nearly had my mohawk blown off by Hargeet when I said you're gonna sell for like $2,000. $2,000? You freaking kidding me? Double that. Oh, okay. There you go.
So yeah, a new central air system I'm trying to get installed, man.
Yeah, listen, it's again, that 30th anniversary looks nice. I'm not going to front, but it's scalpers got him. And, well,
Yeah, they
it
got
is
him
what it
quick.
is. Jay
Hargate and his bot army.
Jay Fuller drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Didn't IGN give Starfield and Concord the same review score? If they gave it a 7, then maybe."
Yeah, but it's the language that was used differently. Starfield was a huge disappointment, and Concord was the next big thing in games of service games.
I wonder if Dan Stapleton did the review for both of them. Now, I did not know who did the review.
No, I think was it Ty Guy Travis did the Concord review. I think maybe so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he did. Such is life.
And Ty Guy said that he would have given it an 8 anyway. So Starfield.
Yeah.
That's fine. Listen, Hargi, let's sell your brand, brother. You obviously are an author. You wrote a book called Emergence. It's behind you. You can order it. He'll tell you where you can order it. You also have your own YouTube channel. We'd like to get people to get over there and sub as well. And we'll also just kind of give people the updates. Fonz, who was in the chat, so shout out to Fonz from Fonz Gaming, is not having his show at 10 p.m. where usually Hargeet, is partnered with him and goes after this show. But Hargeet, let's sell your brand, brother. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel, buy your book, and not find you on social media?
Check out my YouTube channel. It's Hargeet21. So you can go there and subscribe there. My book is available. It's a sci-fi novel, as mentioned. Shop.chani.us. If you want to get the merch, there's merch. Shirt on right now, so check that out. And then we normally would have GameStop Live, but we decided there wasn't enough topics to make it worth it, so we're skipping this week. Hopefully we'll have more news next week to make it more useful, but that's kind of what that is. Otherwise I'll be on Friday with C-Money and Doodle on night shift. That's at 8 p.m. US Eastern time, so check that out. And then we'll have Web Dave's the Gaming Circle podcast on 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern time on Sunday. So check that out.
Nice. 3-Bit, let's sell your brand, brother. You have a podcast Sunday evenings with Fuzzy Belvedere called Pixelated Echoes. We want to get more subs over to you. It's a great show. You bring on guests normally. You guys chop it up. You're both techies, if you will, like the kids like to say. Sell the brand, brother. Tell everyone where they can subscribe and watch your show that goes live on Sunday evenings called Pixelated Echoes.
Yeah, appreciate being on. It's been a minute, and I always give credit to Boom for being the reason why I podcast in the first place. So thanks for the invite, man. It's a heated topic right now, so I wanted to jump on it and talk about it. You guys can follow me on Twitter at i3bit. I have a show with Fuzzy called Pixelated Echoes, and I come from a game development background, worked on Fable and Ubisoft, all that stuff. So sometimes we get into tech conversations or the industry, things like that. And then I also jump on Mav's show, which I'm sure he'll mention some of the shows that we're on. Fun time. So appreciate everybody. Chat, you guys were awesome. I've seen a lot of you guys had great conversations. And appreciate the invite, man. It's always a pleasure being on.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of the show. And obviously, we love the work that you do in the community and when you're on Mav's show, which is on a regular basis. And Mav, I dropped your link in there. You are currently at 4.74K, which means that you're 260 subscribers away from 5K. A well-deserved honor. You break your ass every day, every week. And some of the best work that you do is when you go solo and you do the Mavcast. I don't know how you do it. Honestly, it is a ridiculously great skill because he could talk for 2 hours and he just, man, it's great. But Mav, sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel and more importantly, follow you on social media?
Yeah, thanks, Boom. I'm going to be playing a hell out of all these Xbox games that nobody wants to acknowledge their existence coming up here. So our Age of Mythology Retold, we got so many games coming up. Flight Sim, Indiana Jones, Call of Duty, Diablo Vessel of Hatred. Playing.
But Mav, how many of those are on PlayStation? Because then they'll count.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Call of Duty will be. Anyway, it's I just love it. Loving
a lot of no
right
games.
Now. Yeah, it's so many games, dude. So many games. Anyway, Yeah, some of those you'll see me streaming over on our channel, Fun Speculation, but also like Boom mentioned, I'll have solo shows sometimes, but our normal slate is Mondays we got FSP now at 9 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays 7 p.m. Eastern with Pong Soul and I, and then Friday nights is Xbox Ultimate Podcast also at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And thanks for having me, Boom. It's awesome talking to Hargeet, who I also got to give props. Hargeet, I saw the video that was on going around Twitter the other day of you trying to educate the guy for
that was
the
great.
Xbox ecosystem. It is so like hilarious actually trying to see this take place, and it just kind of shows.
So which one was that? I'm sure that was like clip from somebody's podcast, right?
It was from Booms.
I think it was from Booms. Yeah, I see
Yeah.
that one.
Mhm.
Oh, is this
Yeah.
with Detective Seeds?
Yeah.
It's
I
great.
couldn't remember the name.
okay.
Yeah. It was great
Yeah,
education. I loved it. Anyway, it was a fun show, and I hope everybody has a great night.
Well, thank you. And let's get to Everborn Saga, which, by the way, his Kickstarter has now been dropped into the chat. And if you want to help him hit his stretch goal, you can, in fact, do that. So obviously, you got 5 days left of the Kickstarter. You've gotten to the 100 percentile, so it's fully funded. You got a stretch goal. You got a bunch of special covers that you can only get once they're done in print. That's it, brother. Sell the brand. Where can people not only check out the Kickstarter, potentially go to New York Comic Con to meet you and get a signed copy in person, but also follow you on social media?
Well, the answer to all of those questions is the Everborn Saga. I am Everborn Saga on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, Twitter, Facebook, Threads, you name it. Type in Everborn Saga. I will be there. Go into your bathroom in your mirror and say Everborn Saga 3 times. I will show it behind you without baby oil. But
holy crap!
Holy
matrimony. No Diddy.
It's because somebody bought it all.
Wait a minute.
Somebody bought it all.
On a serious note, go to Boom. You put it in the chat. I will put it in the chat again. Or you can just go straight to Kickstarter and type in Everborn and we will come up. We are launching Ariel's Adventure Chapter 2. We were fully funded today. And I'd like to announce here that I just got word that the books will arrive at my warehouse on Tuesday, the same day the campaign ends.
Nice.
So we will be immediately shipping out the books. That includes the variant covers as well as the hardcover for Prince of Arcadia and all that. And I want to tell you guys about this stretch goal. By the way, before I do that though, I also want, if you have backed the campaign, right? You've already pledged. I appreciate that so much. We could not do that without you. But there's also add-ons that you can add to your pledge, and you only have 5 days left to do it. You see, you can get stuff like this, right? We have a lot. We have a lot of shirts like this. We've got stuff from Adidas. We've got stuff from American Apparel, Fruit of the Loom. We've got hoodies, all those add-ons. But we are also, as a stretch goal, if we hit that goal, which is now 10,000, so we've got 4,000 to go. Well, actually like 3,500, 3,600. So we're very close. We are launching our next series in 2025, which is Everborn The Remnant. And that will be launched in a 2-part hardcover, just like this. But if we hit our stretch goal, chapter 1 is already done, or part 1 is already done. We will be giving it away. Part 1 of Everborn The Remnant, our next series that is not slated to launch until the end of 2025. We will be giving away part 1 to everyone that backed the campaign free of charge. So if we hit that goal, everybody benefits.
Nice.
And the last thing I'll say is, because the books are already printed and the book is already done, anyone who will be in the tri-state area, and they will be at New York Comic Con, you can pick up your pledge in person, signed by me at Comic Con booth 2039. Nice. So this isn't one of those Kickstarters where you support it and then you might get it a few months from now. This is more like a pre-order because the books are done. The books are already printed and the books will be here on Tuesday, and we will begin shipping the books out immediately. And if you have a big enough order, you'll get some of the custom packaging
Oh, that's sick. Man.
that we
That
set
is
up.
nice, dude.
It's better than the PS5 box.
Yeah, I was going to ask everyone
That's it.
if I want to stand the book up, you're going to charge me $30 for a stand?
Yes. No.
Get that
But-
money,
but-
everyone.
but please, I'm telling you guys, there's only 5 days left, and technically it's nighttime, so it's really 4.5. This is it. This is your last chance to get some of the things that we are offering exclusively as a part of this campaign. Everybody who supported this thing, everybody who shared it out, it means so much. And again, we have huge things coming because we're doing the relaunch of the Everborn Saga website, and that will on Tuesday is when that goes live. So the day the campaign ends, the new website goes live, and we're going to be in shipping mode. So there's a lot of things happening: the new website, the new books, the launch here, and then Comic-Con, and we've got some big stuff planned for 2025. So now's your time to get in, and any support, any shares, any pledge you can make would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much, and thank you, Boom, for having me and letting me talk my stuff.
Talk your talk, brother. Listen, we're all here to help. Everybody when again, it's the whole thing is we're a community, we're a family. You got to help each other, you got to push each other. And here at Double Barrel Gaming, new voices on a regular basis, something that we really enjoy doing, and helping people in the community is what it's all about. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for here for Primetime Gaming. A big thank you to the 700 plus people that were watching live across X and YouTube. We truly appreciate it. If you're finding the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.